I was still walking according to my preference. I liked light-skinned, long hair, petite models, all that crazy nonsense. I like what I like, what I want. And so
Someone said in the comment section of that video that I think God needs a lawyer on earth because the way people just sit down and lie. At first, you wonder which God is talking to you. And I don't understand how their wives sit down there and be like, yeah, he hates me. He never wanted me, but I'm here. I'm still his wife. Is it that they cannot stand up and walk away? Is it that they cannot, squeeze their face or be like, why would you say that? What's going on in this Dear Future Wifey podcast? Let me show you all this clip, then we'll come back and talk about it.
with you, I was tired. I was in a season where God said, just be ready for your wife. So I went to this concert. I was invited. And long story short, as I sat there, he gave all of his background singers an opportunity to get a piece of the song. So two of them stuck out to me. One guy's name was Chris, and then the other was Kanita. And so afterwards, I'm thinking in my mind initially, if they ever come back to Detroit, I might need them in the studio, might work on some records. So I introduced myself to the both of them, and after that, I left. And so when I introduced myself to Kanita, I didn't want to be the typical dude off the street, let me get your number in church, what I'm saying? So I just made it simple. I said, you know what, if you're on Facebook, I'll connect with you there. If you, on social media, I'll leave it there. If it's more, cool. If it's not, cool.
So hold on, but so you was open to more.
I was open to more, but it wasn't my initial
original intent.
Yeah, see, I was in that time, even though God showed me her, I was still walking according to my preference. I liked light-skinned, long hair, petite models, all that crazy nonsense. I like what I like, what I want.
Yeah.
And so the Lord had to show me that that's where I was at.
People are saying we need to cancel this podcast. And I agree. Because I thought the one that went viral, the Kelly woman owned, that she says she irons her husband. I can never forget it. She irons her husband's shirts before he go meet a side chick. And he spends the weekend, she knows, but God told her that one day you're gonna love me. He even told her that I hate you, I wish I never married you. But she's like, don't worry, one day you're gonna love me. Because God is speaking to her. I can't forget. Okay. I thought that was just it. I thought that was just a one-off thing. Until this one came again, and he's saying that his wife was never his preference. My own is, what gave you the audacity to come online and say something like that in front of your wife, in front of everybody, knowing that the video can go viral, knowing that people are going to hear it? It means that it's nothing to you. It means nothing to you. It's okay for you to hurt your woman in front of everybody, and your woman is sitting down there. Yes, he never wanted me, but I was there. He chose me. I don't understand. Sometimes I wonder, what is the lesson in you saying things like this? Are you trying to tell us that even though you like light-skinned woman as a man, or if you like light-skinned woman, when the dark one is coming to meet you or she's available, just go for? I don't know. What's the lesson there? What's the lesson there for women? Because I don't get it. I have your reaction on this video. Let's go ahead and watch this video together, then we'll come back and discuss.
I was still walking according to my preference. I liked light-skinned, long hair, petite models, all that crazy nonsense. I like what I like, what I want. And so the Lord had to show me that.
What the fuck be so goddamn funny on this fucking podcast? Is it only Christian? Like, is it like the Christian woman thing to not feel a way when your husband is sitting there like, yeah, I was not attracted to her at all. Yeah, she is not my type. I like them light skin. She was black as hell. I like long hair. She was bald headed. And I like the slim model types. She was fat. And she just... Where was the joke? Where was the joke? some things it's okay to keep to yourself. And I feel in this like space of truth and honesty and being vulnerable and blah 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 blah, it's like a humiliation ritual. This podcast, the Dear Future Wifey podcast, is a humiliation ritual for women. I have yet to see a clip of the wife sitting next to her husband, and saying, yeah, I did not like him. Oh my God, I used to cheat on him so much. Oh my God. The most I've seen is the wife being like, I was not paying attention to my husband's needs. And, I woke up one day and what's their name? It's that a couple, the husband is an actor now. It's not a pastor preacher situation, but the husband is an actor now. I can't remember their name. And she was just like, he asked me one day, what's on your agenda for today? And she was like, oh, well, I have the kids and then I have an appointment and I have this and I have that and that. And she listed out all those things that she has to take care of that day. And then he asks her, well, where do I fall in that? And she was like, it was then that I thought, oh my God, I've been neglecting my husband. Have you been neglecting your husband, or has your husband not been helping? Because if your husband was also thinking about the kids and what they have going on and all the things that the house needs, maybe you would have room for him.
Yeah.
That is the highest level of a wife. My God. This is so embarrassing.
Yeah.
Why are all of these men coming on the Dear Future Wifey podcast to tell the world essentially that their wife is not their preference?
I was open to more, but it wasn't my initial
original intent.
Yeah, see, I was in that time, even though God showed me her, I was still walking according to my preference. I liked light-skinned, long hair, petite models, all that crazy nonsense. I like what I want.
Yeah.
When a man says that the woman that he's with or his wife is not his preference, all that means is that you're a consolation prize because I couldn't get the prize that I really wanted. So I ended up with you. And it really just be going over their heads because every time they just be sitting there nodding like, no, ma'am, this is a jab. This is not a compliment. And for the men, I really feel like they think they're giving their wife a compliment by saying like, hey, I couldn't get her, so you got me. That's not a compliment.
Let a man dare say that he stopped looking and searching for women that were his preference and chose his wife who was out of his preference. Y'all not gonna like me for what I have to say, but I'm gonna say it anyway, okay? Ryan Rutely sat there on the Dear Wifey podcast and he explained that he was tired of constantly looking for women that was in his preference. And it may be so true that these women just wasn't a good fit for him. They denied him or whatever. And he chose his wife. But let me tell you about perspective. Every woman underneath that video was talking about how he embarrassed his wife and he this and he that. But what y'all don't understand is a lot of us operate out of preference. And that's the problem. And the only way you develop a preference is when you living outside of the will of God and you're doing things on your own will and on your own terms. Okay? For example, having grown folks activities before you are married. That is one way to develop those preferences versus having what God has for you. I did not view that as him being disrespectful. He was being honest. You was out there searching for your preference. Your preference got your feelings hurt, and obviously you aren't with those women, and you ended up with your wife, who you probably should have been with in the first place. Women do it all the time. Y'all end up with men based off of their money, not because they're your preference, but because of their money and what they can do for you. I'm not saying all women, but I'm saying a lot of women do this and nobody says anything. So I wish y'all would stop doing this. Let me know what y'all think in the comments.
I just want to say this for the record. That Dear Future Wifey podcast is the exact reason why your grandmama taught you do not allow everybody to pray for you and do not allow everybody to lay their hands on you. Yeah. Because honestly, even though this is a spiritual based page and I'm a spiritual person, having a Christian background and a Christian upbringing, and as somebody who still goes to church, I find it highly disrespectful that the Dear Future Wifey podcast continues to have multiple guests on there who are pastors, preachers, ministers, deacons, deaconesses, and they continuously abuse and disrespect the word of God like that. Like, marriage is supposed to be so sacred, so loving, and when done correctly is so beautiful to witness. And for y'all to sit up here and continuously allow men who run churches to get on a podcast and talk about how badly they disrespected their wife and continue to disrespect and degrade their wife in a time where they are literally writing laws within our country that is taking away women's, let alone wives' rights as we speak, is diabolical. Diabolical. That is why you have spiritual discernment. That is why you do not allow everybody to pray for you. Ain't no way in hell I'm going to a man's church who went to jail, was selling drugs, cheating on his wife, said she wasn't his type, talked about her like a dog. Multiple men on that podcast have talked about their wives like a dog, and you want me to believe you can honorably handle, let alone preach and deliver the word of God, just like Christ instructed those who were supposed to carry out his faith and be disciples in his name, and you want me to believe that you're a good human being based on how you talking about dogging out your wife? You can't even handably and honorably be with the one person who you supposed to become one with, and you want me to believe you could lead a congregation and actually pray for the salvation of people? Hell no.
Married 22 years here. And I'm going to tell you women out there who are single or who are in relationships that are having problems or about to be married, don't listen to us. Do not listen to what we got to say. Because the testimony that we may give about what happened in our marriage is not a litmus test for how much you can bear in your relationship or your marriage. Consult the Holy Spirit. Go to God in prayer about you being in that relationship. Don't listen to us. Get to know the Lord yourself so you can be sure it's his voice you're hearing when you're giving direction about what you should do about you and that man. Don't be listening to us on these podcasts and all that. I'm going to just tell you. And there's some things I can tell you about, things that are figure outable in marriages, but what I done been through ain't got nothing to do with you. We got two different trajectories in life. Don't listen to us. Not one iota. Consult the Lord in everything that you do, every facet of your life. And know that you are hearing his voice. Your discernment is going to tell you what you need to do, that you ain't got to go ask nobody nothing.
Dear Future Wifey podcast, hosted by this man right here, needs to be defunded. His podcast is almost just as bad, if not worse, than the Red Pill podcast. I say this because the only married couples that he have on his show are married couples where the woman has been drugged through the mud and back. I'm talking has gone through all types of abuse, has gone through infidelity, has gone through sometimes even physical abuse, and others like married couples that should have been divorced a long time ago. And the woman in the situation will always be blaming the reason why she stayed on God and scripture and her bettering herself as a woman. And don't get me wrong, I love hearing scriptures and talking about God just as much as the next Christian woman. But at the end of the day, you have to be able to call a spade a spade. You chose to deal with abuse. You chose to deal with a man actively stepping outside his marriage. and you just wanted to stay anyway. Like, that's ridiculous. And I just feel like that podcast promotes toxic marriage. It promotes men being married but don't have to abide by their marital vows. Like, you don't have to actually be with your wife and your wife only. Like, you can step outside your marriage. You can treat your wife however. You can abuse her in more ways than one. You can be emotionally absent husband to her, and it's still her job to keep the marriage together. No, that's not how marriage works. Biblically, that's not how marriage works at all. So you continuously putting these dysfunctional marriages on your podcast over and over and over kind of seems like it's intentional, and you're trying to spread a false message to women who want to be married that you are going to have to be willing to put up with abuse. You're going to have to be willing to put up with infidelity and all these other crazy things if you want to be married. And that's not true.
Christian women need to stand up. If I see one more podcast with a Christian woman sitting there and allowing a man to embarrass you, Proverbs 31 women had self-respect and boundaries. Where is it? Where is it? I don't care if I'm sharing my story, my testimony. You're not about to sit here and embarrass me now. Never catch me on a podcast being like, oh yeah, I washed his clothes before he cheated on me with somebody else. I got him prepped and ready to go. No, you'll never see me sit down next to a man and let him list out reasons why he was not being, one, obedient to God, and then two, not finding me attractive. You're kidding me. You're kidding me.
Somebody needs to shut down the Dear Future Wifey podcast. Like, it has to go at this point. Because at this point, I feel like the husbands are taking their wives on a field trip to be embarrassed. Like, it gets worse and worse with every episode that I watch. So this clip I just watched, basically, in so many words, he just pretty much said, well, I married my wife because, I mean, hey, she was just there. Like, what? And the craziest part is the wife is just sitting there all proud, like, stand up, sis. Stand up. Don't let him play in your face like this. You cannot tell me that a bunch of miserable husbands didn't come together to make this podcast. Because, like, I thought the episode with the girl that was helping her husband get ready for the side chick was diabolical, but it really just, like, is this the theme? Like, I don't know, y'all. I don't know.
Is the full name of the Dear Future Wifey podcast Dear Future Wifey when the women I actually want are no longer attracted to me or want me? I hope that you are around and ready, willing, and able to settle for me the way I am settling for you. Like, is that what the name of that podcast is called? Because if Kelly Steele wasn't enough, now there's this beautiful dark-skinned woman sitting up on that podcast cackling, hee hee ha ha, and like it's a joke next to her husband while he sit there and talk about how he was really attracted to light-skinned, thin women. Okay, but God told him he was ready for a wife, and here he go put this dark-skinned, thick woman in front of him that he wasn't really checking for, that he met at a concert that he was just trying to be friends with, but the well of light-skinned, thin women, like, dried up for him. And, she was nice. And she's just sitting up there laughing. Like, what part of that shit is funny? Like, what part of this man getting on a podcast telling the whole world that he was not attracted to you, that you were just outright not his type, that he settled for you, is funny? Girl, stand up. And hide behind God to do it is absolutely insane. It's crazy. Like, I swear this podcast ain't for nobody but trifling ass men and women who aspire to nothing more than the title of wife. Nothing more than the title of wife. Like, that's your whole raison d'etre, is to be somebody's wife. Don't care all the struggle and strife and embarrassment that come along with it. You get to say that you somebody's wife, and that shit is fucking sad and crazy. Because I wish a nigga would get on a fucking podcast and embarrass the hell out of me like that. Some things you just keep to yourself. Some things you just keep to yourself. Some bring back secrets and shame.
light-skinned, as he would say, women. That's what he liked. He liked light-skinned women. This is all everybody's talking about. There's one major thing that people aren't talking about when it comes to this Dear Future Wifey podcast. And the point that I want to make is that all of the good is being lost in these ridiculous comments that these husbands are making. And this just goes back to what I was saying about you have to choose your words wisely, because some things are unnecessary for people to hear. Some things are unnecessary for you to say. Yeah. There's no reason in the world why these men keep getting on there talking about how their wife wasn't it for them until God. That is all fine and dandy, but that just shouldn't be a part of your message, because it's making everything good be evil spoken of. Everything good that you could have gotten from this podcast, you can't even get it, because everybody and their mother is talking about how this man dogged his wife out, how she wasn't good enough for him. He liked long-haired, skinny, light-skinned women. And I'm over here just like, you know what? Let me watch the rest of this podcast and see what else God may have for us to learn from this, because at this point, everybody wants to take this podcast mic and throw it out the window. They don't want to hear it no more. But I just want to tell them that it's the delivery. It's not the fact that they don't have a positive message for people who want to be married and for couples who want to live for God. It's wonderful. That's a wonderful message if you want to live for the Lord. Because in this day and age, a lot of people, that's not really what's on their mind. But the way they're starting out and the way they keep talking about their wives and how they just weren't good enough, it's not good. It's in poor taste. Let's just say that.
The name of the podcast, Dear Future Wifey. Yeah, Dear Future Wifey. Meaning, what I'm trying to understand is why you created the podcast is to encourage single women that wants to get married, so they can watch married people that have been married for years and listen to their testimonies, listen to what they've been through, listen to how they met each other, listen to things that can encourage them and give them hope that, okay, marriage is not that bad, marriage is sweet, like I will get married someday. Okay, because I see a lot of videos of people saying don't get married, or marriage is not worth it and all of that, but they want that podcast to encourage them to want to get married. I personally feel like that's what that podcast should be, because you are bringing people that have congregation, pastors that preach for people. So definitely they will preach and tell people that marriage is good, right? But the interview and the question, the answers, the things that they're saying, it's not encouraging for somebody to get married. Because if that is what marriage is, how is that encouraging? Because it's not encouraging to me. They are practically humiliating their wives with full confidence. And it pisses me off because it is annoying seeing that the women cannot say anything and they're just sitting down there smiling and like, keep on going. I like it. And it's just because I feel like it's that title of I am a married woman. I have been married for a certain years. I feel like that's when you're introducing yourself as a woman and you say, oh, I'm Mrs. So, and I am a married woman and I've been married for this amount of years. It gives them that confidence. I feel like that is what is why most of women will stay in that kind of marriage, knowing that it's not what it's knowing that it's not what it. And it's okay for you to have preference. Nobody says you should not have preference. But saying that your woman was, you never liked that, she was, you're with the opposite person. I don't know, there's something off about it, and which I feel like there's some things that's supposed to be left unsaid. And even if you want to say something like that, it's not to the world to hear and see you. How do you think people are going to see your woman? And how is this encouraging for young women that want to get married? Because this podcast, I agree with that creator that said we need to shut it down because it's worse than retro content. Because you're not encouraging anything good about women. You're just encouraging struggle love. You're encouraging women to stay in an abusive uninteresting relationship just because they want to have that title of I'm married to a pastor, I'm married to a man of God, or I'm married and I'm married for years, or I stayed even when he didn't like me. I stayed even when I was not impressed. The other one too, Kelly's husband was saying she was not a preference as well. He never liked she's an elder, she's an auntie. He likes them like, and she was laughing. What will happen when you, as a husband, and you're married and your wife is beside you, and you're telling people that, oh, my wife, first time I saw her, I knew because she's very pretty. The way she spoke, I know she's very intelligent. I just wanted to get to know her because looking at her physique, everything was all I ever wanted in a woman. What will happen to you if you praise your woman? What will happen to you? What will happen? Nothing. Okay? But if you think that disrespecting your woman will boost your ego, to me, I just feel like, is this women that I'm even pitying? Because the fact that they find it okay to sit down there being disrespected like that, I wonder what they will be preaching in the congregation. I wonder what they're preaching in their churches, because I just wonder. Anyway, you guys, what is your take on this? Another episode of Dear Future Wifey podcast. Let me answer that in the comment section respectfully. As always, it's your girl Mara Davids, and thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this one. Please like and share and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye, guys.